You want to test new things. And these are the 10x things. If the founders come up with a great idea, call it crazy, and you implement it, you test it, and boom, all people love it. Double down on what the sticky users like, introduce new features that the somewhat sticky users want, and introduce new innovation.
Hey everyone, this is Heine Zachariasen here, and welcome to Founders Weekly, where we tell startup stories you can learn from. Today's topic is a crucial one for every founder: product market fit. It's the one thing that determines whether your startup succeeds or fails. 80% of startups fail because they never find it. Today, we'll dive into a tool that helps you find that magical product market fit score. My co-host today is Thijs Søndergaard, Vivino co-founder and a friend. Welcome, Thijs.
Thank you, Heine. Always good to be here.
Very glad to have you, Thijs. Why is it so darn hard to find that product market fit?
It is bloody hard. I guess it's because you are trying to do something that nobody else has done before, or you're trying to do it better or cheaper than anyone else has done before in the history of the world. Now, does that sound hard? It does sound hard, and it is hard.
Yeah, it is super difficult. On top of that, you usually work with some kind of new technology, or there's some kind of shift. There's something that has changed for sure.
Absolutely. But then the question becomes, why is it hard to get drafted for the NBA? Well, because a lot of people are trying to, right? And it's the same thing here. Once you have something that's it doesn't even need to be super obvious, but just like there's a gap in the market, I can assure you that there is at least 100 people around the planet, smarter than you, harder working than you, who's ready to go for this. So that's what you're up against.
Yeah, totally. But a product market fit a year ago might not be a product market fit today because the world moves so fast, right?
Absolutely. It's a moving target constantly. And also, it's not a one-time thing. You might have product market fit, but you can have that for a few years and then the market has changed.
Totally, yes. But I also made a definition of product market fit. Let's see how that goes. Product market fit is building a product that the market wants, you can build at scale at the price that the market is willing to pay. So there are different ones out there. I like this one. It's easy and simple. What do you say, Thijs?
No, I think it's like many of the things you do, Hein. It's short and sweet. So
it's short and sweet. That's good. Short and sweet and mediocre.
I like it. Yes. Yes. No, I like it, and I like the last bullet point around that it needs to be at a price that the market is willing to pay. It's not hard to give away ice cream for free. Doesn't mean you found a product market fit. It needs to be something that you can sustainably produce and deliver at a price that people want.
And yeah, I think that is relevant because this happens a lot. You get a lot of funding, you sell the product maybe at a lower price than you should. Basically, you're giving away free ice cream.
Yeah, and our example that we keep bringing up here, our dear Vivino, is somewhat down that lane of having a product where you have let's call it a product user fit. You have a product that's clearly very, very popular with the users, and there's a clear fit there. But you still need to make sure that you make a business, that you have some way to monetize it so that it's sustainable. And so that's why it's called a product market fit. It's not just a user fit.
Yeah, I usually say that we had like two product market fits. First, we had the regular product market fit using the app, the free usage of the app. People love that and so on. And then secondly, we had shall we say, commercial product market fit. Hey, there's something here. We're starting to make money and so on. We think we found that now, but you never know for sure. Let's take the first one, Thijs. It's a few years ago. It took us a while to find. What do you think about that? How did that go?
Oh, how do I recall that? How much time do we have? Do we have like a 3-hour episode today, or what's the plan?
Yeah. What should we? Yes. What can we do briefly? No. 60 seconds. That's all you got. No, for sure. It was a long and painful period. Let's talk a little bit more.
It definitely was.
Yes, it is a painful period, but I also want people to remember that when you're a founder and when you do this, looking for that product market fit, it is such fun. You build, and sometimes you find something really an incredible period that, when you're later startup, you might long back to those times when a lot happened.
No, but it's true. It was a long struggle, and it took a long time, also because we had to do quite a few pivots along the way to find that fit. The story of Vivino, right? We built a website, right? We built Vivino.com with the basic idea in mind, and that didn't have a product market fit. Then we pivoted into the app. That didn't have a product market fit because we didn't have the data that we needed. But we saw encouraging signs. We launched it. It had a 1-star review in the average review in the App Store, right? And so we got more and more data. And then slowly we started seeing the product market fit finding its way. We started seeing much better retention of the users we had, a much stronger organic growth. So it was a long and sometimes painful process of going through these kind of, it's easy to look at them and see them as failures, but obviously they're also just stepping stones and learnings along the way.
Yeah. One more thing I want to say about that is don't expect any silver bullets. It is a grind. I mean, sometimes you'll see like small jumps up, but mostly it's about improving it a little bit every day. If it's a piece of software, for us, it was really was about the data. And the way I visualize it is like you have 100 users, and in the beginning, like 20 users are happy. Then at some point, 23 users are happy, and then you go and go. And I think for us, something happened when we started hitting like 50 users are happy now out of 100. Then you reach some kind of tipping point where, in our case, it was a lot about scanning wine, that it worked more than it didn't work. So that was something that was important to us. What do you think, Thijs?
Absolutely. There was kind of a tipping point, especially also when you get to the point where, more than half of your users is getting a positive experience. But, we're going to get into this of how you get data on this, but we could see it, for example, in the App Store reviews. And even before we had product market fit, right, we would find encouraging data points there of just people saying, the famous ones that we always found, which was basically some paraphrasing around what a great idea, too bad it doesn't work, right? So there's a market out there for the product that you want to get to. You just haven't arrived at it yet.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And the good one of those are people that said, interesting. Maybe you want to give this product another chance. Maybe you want to try it again. That may be good rather than saying, look, I'll never try this again. There's one story I do remember, Thijs, and this is many years ago. We're going through the grind here. And one day we come to work and we're sitting opposite each other. And, it's wine, so it's very heavy on the weekend. And we get to the office on a Monday morning. And through that weekend, 3,000 people had scanned a bottle of wine on that Saturday. And we were like, this is insane. It's so cool. This really works. And at some point, I looked up at you and said, Thijs, do you really think that, 1 million people could do that someday? You looked me in the eye and said, yes. I'm like, good. Obviously, that did happen a few years later. So it's funny how I remember these moments. Basically, it was like, well, if you can get to 3,000, couldn't you get to 1 million? Because literally millions of people, tens of millions of people are drinking wine every Saturday. So why couldn't you get to 1 million?
It's so hard. It's so many iterations over things, and sometimes what you need to work, like why you are not quite there yet. For example, if it's a data play and you don't have all the data or something like that. But a lot of times you don't know, right? And a lot of times you go out with a product. And it's basically what you wanted to build, and you put it out there. And there's just not a product market fit. Like people are not responding to this. And then you really need to get into that mode of like, okay, let's see if there's even a market out there. Let's try to iterate on this. How much do we need to pivot this to actually get to a place where this product has a market? And you can be far away, right? And like you say, most startups fail because they never find it. And that's just the harsh truth.
Yeah, and I always say I don't quit. But with these things, at some point, you have to quit. You do not want to quit early, right? That's what all our competitors did, right? But at some point, you might have to quit because this is just not working.
Yeah, for sure. And also sometimes you get to these points where you point to other things as, oh, this was what made us fail. Like, for example, we couldn't get the investment, right? Yeah. Oh, nobody wanted to back us. Well, that's kind of a symptom. And a lot of times the symptom is that you just didn't have a strong enough product market fit.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the lack of investment is usually a consequence, not a reason why this happens. Okay, we're going to talk about the product market fit score. Let me just give you a little bit more about that. The product market score puts a score on the product market fit and puts a number on your progress, even tells you what you should be working on next. Pretty magical. So, Thijs, what are your initial thoughts on this? Does it sound too good to be true?
It is too good to be true, Heine, and I'm, and I'm hanging up. No. So I haven't used product market fit score personally in the way that we did it at Vivino. I understand the kind of the framework, and I can definitely see the value. We'll dive into it. You know me, I'm always skeptical about like playbooks and simplifying things too much. But I can definitely see aspects of this that can be super valuable for startups that are looking for the product market fit. So let's dive into it, understand how you use it and the pitfalls.
Yeah, and you know me, right? I want to put a number on everything. So if someone could have a number on product market fit, I'm definitely on board. So the other thing that it does, which I think is like maybe even more magical, is you always struggle with what am I going to build next? Like I have 68 ideas here, but what should I be building? And this particular framework actually helps you finding out what you should be building next. That's pretty crazy.
Absolutely. One of the hardest things when you're trying to search for this product market fit is who do I listen to? Because you are surrounded by ideas and data. So many people will have ideas about what you should do. So many users are giving you input, and you have all these data streams and feedback. And so one thing I like about this framework is that it's pretty clear around who should you listen to.
Okay, cool. We'll be diving deeper into all of this in a second. Today, we're lucky to have Herbert from EarKick on, a self-care app that's using product market fit score to improve its growth. Herbert will give us a real-world example on how this score has transformed their development process and helped them find their product market fit. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back. Our guest today is Herbert from EarKick, an AI-driven mental health app that has successfully used product market fit score to find product market fit and grow. Welcome, Herbert.
Thank you. Hi, Heine. Hi, Thijs.
Great to see you. And we've known each other for some time. I think it's almost 15 years ago. Let's talk a little bit about how we met.
Yeah, it's quite some time back, and I actually don't remember exactly, but I know we first called, and then you guys came to Zurich, to our office, just the two of you. That was Vivino at the time. And we had this discussion about using image recognition for the wine labels. And we actually had a lot of other companies approaching us, but we were just convinced of you guys that there was really something like serial entrepreneurs, and there was a different vibe than with the other companies. And so we took it from there.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and obviously Herbert is much smarter than us because he actually built the technology to do this image recognition. But yeah, quite a journey.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, well, I still remember when Till and I, my co-founder and I, we went to the stores and taking pictures of all the wine labels there to fill the database. That was fun.
It's an interesting an example of this product market fit that we're talking about, right? Because as I remember it, Herbert, you guys had invented this incredible technology around image recognition, but you actually had a hard time finding a market for it. Like you weren't sure which vertical is actually like, where can this actually be applied to something that can be a viable business? And I think, Hein and I came to you, blue-eyed and naive and said wine. And you guys were smart enough to realize that, actually, this is a really good vertical for exactly what the technology is good enough at today, right? Because I remember we had these talks about like, hey, could we take a photo of a chair and then you can see it's a chair? And this was 15 years ago, and you just laughed at us, right? And said like, there's no way we can do that right now. But a picture of a piece of paper on a bottle, I think we can do that.
Yeah, exactly. There were all kinds of ideas bouncing at us, and we said, no, it's just not possible technological wise. Like the car recognition was a big thing. Everyone wanted car recognitions, but actually, I don't know, you can't really use that because any car fan anyway knows all the models and all the brands. I don't know, but we were convinced that wine was an amazing vertical.
And you were right. Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Today, we're going to explore how you applied product market fit score at EarKick and what kind of progress it helped you achieve. Let's first talk about what it is, though. The product market fit score was first introduced by Sean Ellis and later popularized by Rahul Vora, founder of Superhuman. Superhuman is this really cool email app that a lot of people use. The score here is very, very simple. Basically, in its core, you ask one question. How would you feel if you could no longer use this product? And then you can answer, not disappointed at all, somewhat disappointed, and very disappointed. The theory is that if 40% or more say very disappointed, you have achieved product market fit. So in its core, like one question that determines if you have product market fit score or not. So what do you say, Herbert? Just one question, right?
Yeah, actually, that's the core of it. So you can segment your users into the sticky ones, the somewhat sticky ones, and the not sticky ones. Basically, the ones who would be very disappointed if they could no longer use the product, your product, they are the sticky ones. You want those. You want as many as possible of those. And the 40% is somewhat, I think, dependent on the industry, on the kind of product that you're developing. Some of them are maybe even below 40% and they get product market fit. Others need more than 40%. And for example, EarKick, we needed more, definitely.
Okay, so what is that? What is the difference? Why did you need more for EarKick?
Well, I think, you know what, ultimately what you want is people talking about your product at the dinner table, with friends, whenever they see other people. And I mean, it's easier to talk about the wine app, this amazing, cool thing, you know, you can just recognize it, you can test it and it's cool. But if you talk about a self-help, personal growth app, mental health app, then you reveal something from yourself. Either you say, okay, I have like mental health issues and I need this app and it really helped me. Or you say, I think you have mental health issues, you could use the app. So both are not ideal. Yeah, but I mean, we got there and people talk about it. But it's still hard to get this really viral growth.
So if it's at 30%, what kind of app would that be? Is it like something that's more viral, or what type of app is that?
Yeah, I think it's something that's inherently like by nature viral, something like a social network or communication tool or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
But I haven't seen it personally, I must say. I mean, I haven't ever seen an app that has less, or a product that has less than 40% that went like huge.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Heine, it could also be products where simply the switching costs are a bit high, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you're not, your user base, maybe not overall are super fans of you, but they are sufficiently happy that at least they won't go through whatever hassle it is to switch to another provider. So that way you could have like it's a much less strong product market fit, but it might be strong enough because it's just a hassle to switch to a competitor. Whereas when we're talking about, apps and free apps and so on, where there's basically no switching costs, you need really happy users that are super sticky.
Yeah. So we said there was one question, but there is more here. And one thing that is really, really useful is the next question here is, who do you think this product will benefit the most? And Herbert, how do you use that question?
Yeah, exactly. When you ask this question, the users, they basically describe themselves. So they would say, yeah, I'm like 50 years old or whatever. And then you know more about the user without asking directly who are you and what's your profession and so on. And then you can segment people into like your ideal customer profile, ICP, and that the ones that have the highest product market fit, basically those with the highest score, these are your sticky customer profiles, right? Whereas there may be others that are not so sticky. For us, for example, it's managers, salespeople, entrepreneurs. They don't need that somehow. It's just not a fit with them. And so by just ignoring them, you get the hypothetical score. If you just remove all those, you get the new score, which is already higher than the initial one. See, if you get, for example, 25%, and then you remove the ones that are not your target audience, then you get maybe up to 35%, which is much closer to 40%. You still need to consider all of them, because then it also tells about how your focus is, how your communication is, how you're targeting your users. But still you get a feel of where you can bring it by just removing them.
Yeah, this is pretty smart because now you double down and start changing the composition of your user base. You say, hey, this is the ICP, our ideal customer profile. And then you try and get more and more of those. And the way you do that, I guess, is you change your communication, you change your marketing, and now you're really doubling down on the people that you know really like the product, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And also maybe something more. I mean, when we switched to premium to paywall, the paying user were again another segment. So we had to then again distinguish between paying users and non-paying users.
Yeah, this is amazing because very often when you build a product too, you think this is your audience, and then you build towards those people, and they're not really your audience. And that's another thing this tool can do. You can actually really see that. Oh wow, no, we thought it was this, but it's actually this over here. How does that work for you, Herbert?
Yeah, I mean, we got clear results from the survey. It was basically clear that it was good for students, for example. They had a really high product market fit score. Disabled people have the highest. They have over 70%. And then we have also others like single moms. So different kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a great tool for the people around the product that communicated and so on to know who exactly should you be talking to.
Yeah. Oh, it helped us a lot.
So another thing with this particular product is that you can't put the question in front of anyone. You don't want to put it in front of people that really haven't tried the product. So there are specific rules there. Herbert, how does that apply to you?
Yeah, so the user should at least know a bit the core functionality about the product. So they should have at least used it twice. And then we also say twice within 2 weeks. This is what Raul Vora basically, no, it was Sean Ellis who defined that. And that's the rule. So we just stick to that rule. We tried to change it once. We thought, okay, let's try to get to product market fit earlier, like 5 days or, but that was a disaster. People said, oh, I don't know the product yet, so I haven't really had any feel. So we fell down to like really low numbers. So we went back to the two weeks and twice usage.
What do you so I understand why you would experiment with that, because I think intuitively it makes sense that the longer you wait, the more you've also already filtered out some users. And how do you know that those people were not worth targeting or building for, right? If you have, for some reason, something that makes a valuable target audience lose interest, within the first week. So it seems to me that, there could be a reason to at least be careful about, it seems that there's a lot of self-selection in waiting to let people use the product twice. So I can understand why you wanted to move that forward, but do you have any worries about that? Do you think that you might have lost out on some users or some intelligence about these users?
Yeah, I don't think so, because if they don't stick around more than like twice, if they don't use the app at least twice, then they're not really sticky users from the beginning on, So.
Yeah, but I think you could also argue the other way, even if it's not 100% correct, as long as you do it consistently, you can work towards that and increase the score and so on. I think sort of consistency is important.
Yeah, for sure. I'm thinking, and also, I'm thinking back to our days with Vivino, where, before we had product market fit, one of the reasons was that we were super bad at the scanning part. Not because of you, Herbert. You guys were doing an amazing job, but we didn't have the photos that were needed, right? And we didn't have the data that was needed. Yeah. So things would not be recognized. And so we had a ton of users that would come in, scan a bottle of wine and have a bad experience and then not come back. Now, a lot of these users were actually, they were people that we wanted, right? They were valuable, and I wanted data on them and so on. So if I had only had the product market fit score approach there, I think I would have missed out on some valuable insights.
Yeah, I understand your point, and there is self-selection there, but maybe that's fine if the self-selection is consistent. And yeah, you might lose out the info on 90%, but you have 10%. And if that group is big enough, you keep learning from them. It might just be okay. What do you think?
Yeah, but it's actually really a point. I think it's time that solves this question that you just had, because you need to start somewhere. And also we saw when we introduced premium, we had a bit of different audience that were the paying audience. Yep. So, and you know, then you have, and again, it's adjusting, and we're very attentive towards these target audience. We look at them in like regularly, how they change. It changes, the product changes, people change, and messages change. So you need always to reassess.
Yeah, let's get a little bit practical here. Let's talk about how it actually works. So EarKick is an app. What do you do there? Do you pop up, or how does it work?
Yeah, exactly. So we in the beginning we had a type form, and then later on we developed our own solution. It is part of the app. It's we developed an SDK that pops up. It looks the same. You can adjust the colors and everything, and it actually asks the questions. And what we also saw is in the beginning we basically had only accepted the ones that finalized the whole survey, because we didn't have just one question. We had obviously 5 or 6 questions. And then we said, okay, now let's consider also the partial responses. And the first response, of course, was the answer to the question, how would you feel if you could no longer use EarKick? And most people do that because it's just one click on very disappointed, not disappointed, somewhat disappointed. And then we saw that the product market fit score would decrease, actually. Not much, but it decreased about 8%. See, so we had then to catch up this. So this was the genuine, I would say, the real product market fit score.
Yeah, I would generally, you really don't want to change the methodology because it can mess with your score. But I agree with this one. You need volume, and these people did tell you what they think. So I think it feels right.
Yeah.
This is one of the dangers of the surveys. And I think it was very good that you did this, Herbert, of like taking all the first responses, because when you have a survey, the longer it is, you're going to end up with the people that care the most about your product.
Exactly.
Which is very interesting. It's useful and so on, but that is a subset of all the users, and there are other subsets that might be more important for you to work on. So looking at that just the initial one question that most people would answer is super important.
Yeah, exactly. But what you're also saying is make sure you ask that question first, because that is the most important question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're getting to the next thing here. And again, this is another thing that I find a little bit magical with this. The problem when you look for this product market fit is that you have 8,000 ideas. You just don't know what to build. Usually no silver bullet. You just grind and grind and grind. The cool thing about this is that it can actually tell you what to build next. What do the users want you to build next? Tell us a little bit more about that, Herbert.
Yeah, so basically you ask your sticky users the question, what's the main benefit? What's the main benefit for you by using that product? There you find what to double down on. So you don't want to lose your sticky users, right? So you make, for example, if they like that Vivino is fast, you make it faster. So maybe there's another competitor coming up making a faster product, so you don't want to lose them to that product. So you make sure that your product appeals to the very sticky users. Then the somewhat disappointed, so the not so sticky users, you ask, what are you missing? So why are you not so sticky, basically? So what's missing? And they would say, I would like to have, for example, people want to upload pictures to their journal entries with EarKick. And so this is something that we're considering, or they want more content or whatever. So we built this, what they want, to make them more sticky. And then the not disappointed users, yes, the ones that are not sticky, we just ignore them.
So, yeah, whatever they say, you don't care.
Yeah, we don't care.
This is quite interesting because it feels a little bit strange and sort of counterintuitive, especially with the one thing, which is that the stickiest users, the people that like this product the most, you're not going to build any features for them. Rather, you try and make it more sticky by doubling down on the features they like already. So I think that was a little bit counterintuitive. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we still ask them these questions. What are you missing? Because sometimes that moves the needle if we're not sure what to implement. So we look at this for the sticky users. But actually, it was like an epiphany to me, Because usually before I asked everyone, okay, how do you like this product? What would you change? And then I took their feedback as really important. But I shouldn't, because we need to have sticky users as telling us what they like. We need to have people who experience the product, people that are ICPs, So that was an epiphany for me, that not listening to every feedback.
Yeah, and then you just keep building features. And I've seen products fail because they just kept building features. In the end, you have something that's just a total cluttery thing and getting nowhere. So I've definitely seen that happen. This framework, on the other hand, says for the most sticky users, don't build them any features. Just make it better, make it faster, whatever they want. It's like for them, if they want a fast car or like a fast car, keep building the car, make the car faster and faster. What do you say, Thijs?
Yeah, I think this is, for me, one of the most thought-provoking parts of this framework. I'm not sure I 100% agree with it. I'm not super sticky on this one. I can see how it makes sense, but I think it's important to layer over also an element of what are the segments within the sticky and the somewhat sticky users. And what I go back to is our example with Vivino, Heine. We wanted to build a wine app that had broad mass appeal.
Yep.
And when we launched the app, a lot of our users would be early adopters, right? It would be people that had a smartphone and that were really interested in wine, because these would be the people that would actively search for wine in the App Store and find a wine app. So they had a need very high on their list of I need a wine app because I'm really into wine, and it would be amazing if I could have an app on the phone about wine. I made sure that I didn't listen too much to these people. And I'm pretty sure if I had used the product market fit score, a lot of these people would have ended up in the very sticky, or also in the one that I should supposedly listen most to, the somewhat sticky, right? Because most of those people, when they got into Vivino, would be very happy with the idea and quite disappointed about the execution, right? They would be like, yeah, but I don't have a seller feature and it doesn't recognize these rare wines. And by the way, there's no internet connection in my wine cellar, so you need to make an offline mode. And I had a list of 100 features that I could build for these expert users, for these that were also the early adopters. And I did not, because this was not the audience that I wanted. Right, we wanted the mass audience, and so I think it sounds. I really like the idea of the product market fit score, but I do believe that you need to understand. You need to couple it with that first question of can you describe who you are, or you don't put it that way, right? But you get them to describe who they are, and I think you need to apply that filter to both categories to really get something useful out of this.
And this is really a great point. So that's exactly it. Basically, what you say, we have to look at the ICP, what the ICP wants. So the ideal customer profile. If you basically your target audience, for example, we have the target audience, the ones we really want on the platform, and then we have others we don't really want. It's not like they would pull down the product market fit score if they would be the ones, and they have different wishes. They want different features. They like different things from the app. So we put more weight on the target audience, on the ICP, and that's the way. That's what you just described, Thijs, basically.
I'm happy to hear that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, okay. So Thijs and I do sometimes disagree, and we don't mind talking to the world about it. So here we go again. So we don't know exactly what the answers would have been. It's a few years ago, and we don't know for sure. But I think there is a chance that the people that you're talking about that were missing, the loudmouths, maybe sort of people that really loved wine, I think there's a really good chance that a lot of those would end up with the bucket of not disappointed, which means you shouldn't listen to them. So again, we'll never know the answer, but it might have been.
Yeah. I think so. So my theory, Heine, is that actually most of these lead users that I didn't want to listen to, I think they would have ended in that lukewarm middle category. because there were just so many things that we didn't deliver to them that they wanted us to deliver for them to be super, super sticky. And the point is, this was not our target audience. It was not our ideal customer. And so you need to, this is the thing with data-driven product development. It's great, but you need to have a vision as well yourself of what is it I want to build? What is the market that I want to address? And have that clear vision, because that helps you filter out a lot of the data that you should not listen to.
Yeah, and that actually brings me to something that that's really important because we see now, okay, we built the ones, or we double down on the features that very sticky users like, or we introduced the new features that the somewhat sticky users miss. But there's a third component. We founders, we have ideas. We have, we think, okay, this might work, that might work.
Yeah, we're smarter than everybody else, Herbert. You know this.
Yeah, you want to test new things. And these are the 10x things. These are the real 10x things. If the founders come up with a great idea, maybe crazy, call it crazy, and you implement it, you test it, and boom, all people love it. And you need to implement or to work on all three of them. Double down on what the sticky users like, introduce new features that the somewhat sticky users want, and introduce new innovation, crazy stuff.
Yeah, obviously, but the risk there is that you only do number three because we founders think we're so bloody smart. So be careful with that. Do the other two too, and then have some big ideas too.
Yeah, and the challenge here is, let's be honest, as a startup, you often have only very few people to work on the product, and it's very often a question of like, you can just do serial shots, like you can only do one thing, and then you do another thing, and then you do another thing, and then you run out of money. And so like that's the whole art of finding the product market fit. Are you able to do these qualified guesses, right? And that's where this data is super useful, and asking these questions can really, really help you. But like Herbert says, sometimes you got to put in that founder juice and just make something that nobody saw coming. And sometimes that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and obviously sometimes those ideas fail too. But you could say that these 1 and 2 are get some consistent growth, and then you have these big ideas that could change your trajectory.
Yeah.
Cool. Any final thoughts here before we go on a short break? Okay, cool. We are going to go on a short break. Thank you for just laying all this down for us, Herbert. It's amazing. We'll have a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more specifically about EarKick and how you're doing it and so on. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So after hearing Herbert and learning more about the product market fit score, I think it's clear that this framework offers more than just a score. It sort of provides a roadmap too. Okay, let's dig into EarKick. What has it done for you? And first, what is EarKick?
So basically, we offer a self-care app. We call it self-care. It's more in the mental health space. So we actually help people to become a better version of themselves with an AI companion that knows you pretty well. So it has a great memory. You can also shape it the way you want it. Provides you with tips, with hints, with routines that you can do to improve your life. And actually, efficacy is pretty well. We just crunched the data actually, and we've seen that anxiety is reduced by 50% within 90 days. This is amazing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's really cool. So it relaxes people. It helps them to sleep. So everything actually related to stress, anxiety, and also mood change can be achieved.
Yeah, cool. And this is really important work. But on top, what is your product market score right now?
Yeah, now it varies between 65 and 55%.
Wow, really cool. That's a very, very, very high score. I don't know what you can say publicly here, but can you give us an idea about your traction? I know you've been doing well. Any, downloads, some kind of numbers? What do you have?
Yeah, sure. I mean, currently it's around 400 downloads per day. It's still the beginning, but we keep it down for the moment because we want to crack the growth engine, which we will hopefully soon have cracked. It looks really great currently.
Yes. So is that how much marketing you do? Because it's not profitable right now. When you say you paused the growth, what does that mean?
Yeah, so what we do now, actually, it's no more looking into new features, but we look into more onboarding, optimizing the onboarding, optimizing the paywall, like introducing organic growth features. For example, people can shape their panda, they can shape their companion, how they want it to be, and they can also share it to their friends. They can say, hey, look, I've created this amazing panda, so try it out. It might be cool for you. So this is something we're testing and seeing what it has as an effect. And we also try to make everything shareable, that people can share new insights. We have daily quotes that are personalized, for example, and I just got one yesterday which was really good, and I shared it with everyone. So this is really cool, and that helps us also to get more organic growth. And then we're looking into the paid growth as well.
Cool. Can you say anything about the paid? Is that going well, or how's that going?
Yeah, so our goal is to achieve a return on ad spend within 8 days. So we want to get ROAS 100% within 8 days. And we're getting there now. In the beginning it was terrible, but now we're
so we're going
there.
for 8 days. We're currently at 6,700 days. But yeah, no, seriously, 8 days is pretty aggressive, right?
Yeah, look, we have a 7-day free trial, and we have pretty high conversion rates already. We have around 17 to 20% opting in for a free trial. And from this free trial, 35 to 40% that are converting to paid at the end. So this is pretty solid, but the cost per install are still a bit high, a bit too high. And so we're working on the creatives there for the ads. We're also working on the creatives for the App Store, which will push up the conversion rates.
Yeah, okay. Let's get back to the PMF score here. You're building a consumer product, and Thijs and I, we know how rough and how hard that can be. Do you think that the PMF score in the end really played a crucial role when it comes to building your app?
Yeah, this is also really important for the listeners that are building a B2B product. I think it's very, very well designed for consumer products or B2 small B products where they have a lot of customers. For like an enterprise product, I wouldn't probably go with the product market fit score. But for consumer apps, definitely the way to go. I would always use it. I mean, this is really, really great. It gives you actionable insights, what to do. You can measure, you see the effects on what you build. And that's really cool. But you need a bit of an audience. You need a bit of users here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You need some traction. You need an audience. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You need some kind of sample size. You can't have 3 people responding. Then it doesn't work. But when you say it's probably not going to work for B2B, why would you say that?
Well, I had a lot of people actually talk to a lot of people lately, and startups presenting this concept also. And they were a lot into enterprise customers. They had like 10 customers, and there the concept just doesn't work because you need at least like 40 or 100 responses from your customers. Plus, if you have business customers, you can just call them, right? It's much easier to talk to them. But I mean, you know it. If you send an email to consumers, you get a very low response rate. People just don't answer, right? So that's always the problem, to talk to the users.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. You need some sort of volume. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, is it?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this, Thijs?
No, I think it's great to hear. I wonder, so we use the NPS, Net Promoter Score, quite religiously in Vivino as somewhat of a proxy, for how we were doing with our users at a very general level. Do you have any thoughts on these two methods against each other? Are they completely different? Do you get something out of one that you don't get from the other?
Yeah, so I've never used NPS, to be honest, and I would love to learn more about this. The thing is, only NPS is not actionable. Or you ask more questions afterwards, probably. It would be interesting to test. But it's not actionable because you don't know what to do to improve it. Whereas with the PMF score, you know what to do to improve it. But it would be interesting actually to measure both, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the NPS is a little bit different. It is maybe better for maintenance. I remember we implemented a few years ago when we actually had seen some a dip in our downloads, and at the time realized, oh wow, our customers are a little bit unhappy, and we didn't know that. So we implement NPS to see quickly, oh, we have some users unhappy, what's wrong, figure it out. So I'd say it's really good for defense. The product market fit score, again, it maybe looks different on the surface, but they definitely looked at NPS when they designed it. But it's built for product management, for building products, and you can really feel that everything on the product market fit score is built for building products, not maintenance.
Yeah, I think it's great, and obviously some good thoughts have gone into those specific questions. I remember with the Net Promoter Score, you had a similar idea of like, well, you want the people that answer 8, 9, and 10, and you really want to pay attention to what comments you get from the 6 and 7s.
Yeah.
Because these are the ones that you really want to convert, and then the ones below, actually, you don't even like, you're almost not listening to them. But there are different philosophies with the NPS. Like there are also people that are, when they're protecting their brand, they're really worried about the detractors, right? Because they will be the ones that go out and voice their opinion about your product and write negative social media posts and so on. So there are also products that work deeply on the detractors. What I like about the product market fit score is it has a very actionable framework around what are the follow-up questions you should ask and how should you use that data. I think there are a lot of different takes on NPS of like how you should do that and what follow-up questions. So I like the clarity on the product market fit score.
Yeah. I think my theory here is that the guys that built the PMF score, they looked at NPS and then just built it strictly for building products.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because in some ways they're quite similar.
So what we do is we look at the numbers of the shares, of course. We really look at what is the percentage of MAU, so of monthly active users that are sharing the app with their friends. This is what we're measuring. But did you actually see a correlation between how many times people recommended Vivino and NPS?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a very clear correlation between those two. We had the amazing advantage that we've always had very strong organic growth, right? 95% of our users have come organically, and it's still to this day how 95% of users come to us is unpaid, right? And what is even more impressive is if you dive in and you ask them, more than 75% of new users come from a verbal friend recommendation. And so it's not like someone wrote on Facebook or made a TikTok. No, it's a friend that I was sitting next to, and this friend told me to install this app. And so that's super strong. We've always had that. And that was actually one of the things that enabled us in the beginning to find that product market fit, was that because people came from a friend recommendation, they were actually willing to stick around a bit longer than they otherwise would have, right? Yeah. If this had just been a free app that they had found themselves and like, yeah, whatever, I'll try it. It didn't work, I'll throw it out. But no, this was like, no, Herbert said that this was good. Like I just had a bad experience. I'll try it again next week.
Because someone recommended. I'm like default. Yeah, I want to give this another chance.
Yeah. So we had that going for us. It's really strong and something that can play into this early data that you get from these surveys when people have just a more positive approach to your product from the get-go.
Yeah, I think we've really been around this subject. Really, really incredible. Thank you, guys. But before we go, I want to say that Herbert and I did a video on YouTube that goes through every single question, like a 10-minute video that just covers everything. We'll put a link in the description. So make sure you check that out if you want like a more, clear idea of how to implement this. Short video on YouTube. We'll have a link. So we also do a weekly segment here, and it is, what are you obsessed with right now? Yeah, and Thijs and I disagree on this. I like it obsessed, and Thijs calls it passionate, but we can disagree on that. So Herbert, go ahead. What are you obsessed with right now?
Right now, like professionally or private?
Any level. You can be work, you can be a book, you can be a small thing, you can be a big thing, whatever you want to talk about.
No, I'm passionate about growth currently. This growth is really something I'm really into, and also product market fit. Of course, it's an old passion, and it's not going to wear off. Also analyzing all the products about and estimating what is their product market fit. And then lately, I'm into running. So running is something I'm obsessed with. Getting fitter, and what else? Trading.
So we love gadgets, obviously. Yeah. So do you use any gadgets for that, or just use your legs?
No, I'm in love with my Garmin watch. This is
there
amazing.
You go. There you go.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I tried like 4 different Apple watches and other brands, and this is something I would recommend to to everyone, is the Garmin watch.
yeah. He's not getting sponsored, but he loves it.
No, it's great.
Actually, we got one for our daughter, and she loves her Garmin too.
Yeah. Usually, I'm really non-gadget. I don't use many gadgets.
Well, we know that's not true, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go next here, you guys. So, because Herbert said something that sort of triggered me in a good way, and he said growth. So, I'm working on this thing for Founders Weekly, for the podcast, which is like a growth series. So basically, I want to, very ambitiously do 14 episodes about growth. In order to do that, I'm actually doing a lot of research. So I'm asking a lot of startups and founders, how did you get your first growth? How did you get from 0 to 100 or 0 to 1,000? And I'm building that research right now, and I like that kind of stuff. So important here right away is that we'll put a link in the show notes here with a form that you need to go and fill in if you're a founder. Just click, it'll take 2 minutes, just go there and make sure you fill in that form, be really helpful. And maybe, we'll invite you on as a guest here if you're extremely lucky. I'm super passionate about that. I love finding these things out. I know this is one of the biggest problems for founders is how do we get started? How do we get the ball rolling? And I really, really want to help with that. What do you say, Thijs?
So I'll, as usual, Heine, I'll not play ball with you. And
God damn, it's like this every time. Story of my life.
Just do the opposite. Yeah. So I was thinking, what am I not fascinated about? What am I not passionate about? I'm not passionate about the Apple event that just was. I'm just not, this, and this used to be a passion and a fascination from me, right? Every year we had these events, new stuff would come out of Cupertino. I'd be glued to the screen. I'd be like, let me see what do they come up with, right? And I'm just no longer fascinated or passionate around it. The watch is now 10% thinner and the battery is 5% longer lasting, and there's some AI, but actually not yet, and it'll come a bit later. And it's just, and it's perfect example of someone who's found product market fit and has a very solid market, and now they just
there's no 10x ideas anymore.
There's no 10x ideas, right? Steve Jobs is no longer there, so now it's all just incremental gains, and it's just for me lost that era of fascination and passion.
Well, how do they break that, Thijs?
So the thing is, I'm not sure they need to break it with smartphones.
No, it doesn't look like it.
No, because the thing is, the product category is just, it is what it is now, right? We know what a smartphone is, what it's supposed to do and what it can do and so on. And there was a hope of this, we're going to get an AI super cycle where everybody needs to upgrade because now it can do AI. And guess what? Not really. And probably not next year either. So I think we are just at that point where this product category, it's like personal computers, it's like monitors. I heard a guy the other day say a great analogy of when was the last time you really cared about what TV you bought? Like TVs today, they're all great. You can, and same thing with smartphones, right? Okay, we care about whether it's Android or iOS, but mainly because of all the other stuff we already have, whether it fits in. And beyond that, there's a ton of great Android phones. There's tons of, probably the iPhone you have is good enough. When it breaks, you buy a new one.
I mean, you could say it has become a commodity. I would say the difference, though, is that that's very different, is that it relies on one big brand that dominates a part of the market and then an ecosystem. So it's a duopoly or a somewhat monopolized, right?
Yeah, for sure. And, they had it, I think the watch is a very underappreciated, amazing product category that Apple has gone into. I know you love your Garmin, Herbert, and that's great. But, they've done super well, right? It's a massive business for them, and they've really upended the watch market. So I think you need to find another product category once again. And now nobody knows what that is.
Yeah, and probably not another accessory like the AirPods, which is like an incredible product, incredible market, incredibly successful. But if you want to go 10x, you need to come up with something new.
That was actually the product that I was most excited about this year of what they did, because they do these really interesting things about using them as hearing aids.
Yeah.
And if you just pull that forward a bit into the future, where you can start just using it as a personal hearing aid. So we're in a crowded restaurant. I really can't hear what you're saying, but we're both wearing AirPods, and we can kind of communicate through that. And we have this kind of targeted listening. I think that could be a completely new way of using these things.
Yeah, or translation. You can just speak a different language.
I think they can become the next augmented reality tool, actually. And EarKick is called EarKick because of these. Our vision is to have the companion in the ear. It's like in the movie Her, that you can talk to it. So we believe that the next level of augmented reality is not visual, but audio. So
there you go, Heine. So we've gone
the reality.
So we've gone full circle here. This is
yes,
great.
It feels like it's all connected at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, we've come to the end of another episode of Founders Weekly. Thank you very much, Herbert, and thank you, Thijs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heine.
It was a pleasure.
Please make sure you follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave a review and rating. It really helps. For those of you on YouTube, check out Raw Startup, where you find a lot of videos about building a startup. This has been Founders Weekly. Now stop listening, go build something.